Morning and welcome to Garden 36587. And hopefully this is going to be a big weekend because I want to get out and start some outside planting. Before I go out, I've got a job I need to do. My early tomatoes are looking a bit leggy and I think they need potting up. So I'm going to put them up and I'm going to chance it by leaving them in the greenhouse. If you look at the colour of the leaves, they're quite light green. Whereas the tomatoes that have been outside are really dark green, and that's what I'm looking for, strong tomatoes. And I'm putting in a second row of potatoes exactly 2 weeks after I put in the first. 5-10 minutes later, they're all in. You can hardly see I've even been there. I'd expect those to be up maybe in the next week or two, the first ones. Those will take a little longer. And I'm just going to be preparing some soil now. Now it's not the most exciting thing, so please join me after a quick commercial break.
Stale smells up here often come from down there in your carpet. Smells from your dog and tobacco too. Well, Shake and Vac from Glade is here. It's all you have to do. Do the shake and vac and put the freshness back. Do the shake and vac and put the freshness back. When your carpet smells fresh, your room does too. Every time you vacuum, remember what to do. Do the shake and vac and put the freshness back. Shake and Vac, the new carpet and room freshener from Glade.
And welcome back. Done my soil, well, my compost, whatever you want to call it. And now I'm going to put it in the raised beds. Soil, compost, or whatever you want to call it, in. And this is ready to plant. And that's where they're going. 54 onions plus 4 more that I didn't have room to put in, which is 58 onions from a pack of 50. So I've done okay there. So why did I start these in pots and not straight into the ground? A couple of reasons really. The first one being the birds love pulling them out, the little bulbs, when you put them in first of all. And with some roots and some growth, hopefully it'll anchor it down a bit more. And also what it does is I can start them a little bit earlier so they have longer later in the year to dry out after I've harvested them. First year experiment, we'll see how it works. All in now, pleased with them. And what have I got left over? Lots of pots for other planting activities. And 2 little self-set tomatoes, which I'll try and grow. Just popped in 2 surplus calabrese in the brassica beds. And also now I've got some broad beans that I'm going to plant. So I can plant these really close together, because the great thing about raised beds is you haven't got to walk between them to pick things. You can pick them from the side. So these are very close. It wouldn't suit a normal garden, but for a raised bed these will be just fine. And some of them are starting to flower already. They need to be planted out. Beans in, more pots, and 1 more self-set tomato. Winner winner. My next little job is to put this in. This is called Mahonia. It's also known as the great plant. You can probably see why. And the great thing about this is it flowers really late. In late autumn, early winter. And it'll be ideal for my bees because it'll be maybe the last chance to get some pollen. I've prepared the hole now, so I just need to prepare some soil for it. And another great use of wood chip, using it as a mulch just to kill any weeds off that will grow close to it till it gets established. And then it's got to grow pretty much as a wild plant. Talking of wild plants, there's lots of daffodils in the wildlife area, but they're coming towards the end now. And these are here. This is Kamata. These haven't come out yet, obviously. Also down here we've got some beautiful tulips. Also some over here that haven't come out yet. And some snake skin fritillaries over there. Cowslips, and these are lovely, one of my favourites. Right on the edge of the wildlife pond we got some marsh marigolds, and they are lovely when they come out. Lots of wild garlic. And for you wildlife lovers, this is dormouse nest, but we can't touch it because we're not licensed to do so. So I'd like to think there is a dormouse in there. And my last big job today is to integrate that, which is poultry poo, into the compost. And some grass will really get it going good. And here's compost explained very quickly. In here we've got a mixture of poultry poo, grass and some moulder, mixed up compost, garden waste, kitchen scraps, etc. All layered up, and that will take 12 months. This is what it looks like about 3 months on, so it's okay. You certainly couldn't use that in your garden yet. This is about 9 months, and I suppose it could be used now. It's best to leave it, it's 12 months. And this is the finished article. Absolutely gorgeous, and that can be used now. And one of the best things about gardening is harvesting. And one of my favourite things to harvest is purple sprouting. It's just absolutely lovely. And we've got it ready now at the moment. And I'm out nice and early this morning, and I've got a project that I want you to see. These are the potatoes that I grew without using a potato, just using the chit. They're in pots at the moment. Just space them out, and they are going to become my third row of potatoes. Now we're going to be watching these really careful because I haven't got a clue what I'm doing. There's no textbook on these, there's no videos, and I don't know anybody that's ever done this before, harvesting the chits and then using them as their main crop outside. Out of the pots now and into the garden themselves. Really excited about this project. And raised bed 1, row 3 is where it's all happening. So please watch my progress and see how I get on with these, because I'm, as I said, very excited about the project. If you are as excited as me, please hit that subscribe button, because I know lots of our viewers have not subscribed yet, and this is going to be great to see the progress of the chip potatoes out in the full garden. And I'm just about to plant some radish. Now these are quick growing, and what I'm going to do is just sow a few, and then in another couple of weeks I'll sow some more, and so on and so on. And there they are. Only took a couple of minutes to do. Now I'm going to give them a soak very shortly, but they should take, I don't know, 3 or 4 weeks, and they should be ready well before I need to use this garden space for anything else. Here's one of my potatoes. A potato that I've grown without using a potato, just using a chit. But it's not this that I'm looking at. If you look next to it, there's a tomato growing. Now that's a self-set tomato because I use a lot of worm compost. And in there, bits of tomato that we haven't used for whatever reason get in there and they grow like that one. And when they get a little bit bigger, they look like that one. Now I don't know what variety they are, but they're always very, very strong, and they grow really, really well. And they're certainly welcome in my greenhouse. And another great way of growing tomatoes is, if you find a tomato, and these are only tiny, but they're real fun, and they're really firm flesh. If you find a tomato that you really like, you can grow them, and it's as simple as that. You can grow them, and I'll show you how. get the said tomato, cut it in half or cut it into slices, let it dry out, and then there you can see the little seeds. Pull them out, plant them, they will grow. It's as simple as that. And you can have your favourite tomato this year as well. Even the ones from the supermarkets grow just as well. And another, nothing goes to waste. Got an egg box here. I'm just taking the bits off that I don't want. Stack them up there. I've got a few. Got one more to do here. And then I'm done. And then I'm going to show you what I'm going to use the useful bits for and what I'm going to do with everything else. And these little bits, just rip them up a little bit. I've probably gone a bit too small on that one. Really have to be tiny. And these bits can just be thrown straight in the compost. These bits are useful though. And so are these bits in 12 months' time. Now I'm going to grow some of these Gardener's Delight tomatoes. Now I like to grow a few, but not too many. And what I'm going to show you is ideal if you don't want to grow too many. And a common mistake of gardeners the first year is to plant too much of one thing, and then it's all ready together and you don't end up eating it. Now, I've got to be honest, even 10 Gardener's Delight is probably too many for me, and I'll still probably end up giving some away and put 2 in there. It doesn't matter if you put a couple in, try and keep 1 in each. These are old seeds as well, so not sure if they will all germinate, but we'll see. So I'll put just 10 seeds in, and that's it. And those seeds that are left, I'll even keep for next year. Okay, waste as little as possible. And I'm going to do the same for everything else, not tomatoes in all, and I'll show you how I'm going to label them up shortly as well. Just cover up with a tiny amount of compost, just enough to cover the seeds. This first one I'm doing is lettuce, so I've got just 10 lettuce, and that is more than enough. No man can eat more than 10 lettuce, well, even females as well. So those are lettuce, expect them through just over a week. I've even got another variety of lettuce here, so maybe you could eat more than 10 lettuce. You don't want to be sowing hundreds. Nobody really can sustain 100 lettuce. Okay, lettuce. Done. And I've shown you this one before. Pot noodle. Cut a little bit off. There you have a seed label, and there is my own free of charge recycled seed label, and these are Winter Destiny lettuce. And here we are, the finished article. The tray free of charge, the seed label free of charge, and I've used probably 5p worth of lettuce seeds, and they will supply me 10 really good quality lettuce later on in the year. Bargain gardening. And just outside now, in my raised bed that I'm growing my potatoes in, and I found something. I've got potatoes coming through. So the problem with that is now, the frost's coming. The frost will catch them and nip them off and kill the potatoes. So I've got to cover them up. And this is how I'm going to do it.
Hot potato, hot potato, hot potato, hot potato, hot potato, hot potato, potato, hot potato, hot potato, hot potato, 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 potato.
And that hopefully will protect them from the frost, will encourage growth, and will stop the potatoes that are growing being exposed to the sunlight, which will make them poisonous. And recently I planted out my onion sets, they're doing well. And now I'm starting to plant out some shallots. I've got some exhibition onions in there, and at the very end I've got leeks. Like I've shown you before, I like to lay them out first because you can just see where they've all got to go. So my next job is to plant all of them. That's it, they're all in, and I'm going to finish with giving them a good soak. Well, that's been a warm one today. Maximum 37, and the lowest was 6.1 over last night. But wow, it's warm in the day. Well, that concludes this week's episode of Gardening 365, 36587. Join me next time for Gardening 36588. Please subscribe. We know lots of our viewers are not subscribed yet, so please subscribe and help our channel grow. And finally, bye, and see you next time. Still miss Spud. I think I always will.